Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7x7. We're at episode number 1709. Thank you so much for joining me for it. Thank you for subscribing to the show. Thank you also to the patrons who are making this show possible every day with their support at patreon.com/SW7x7. This is going to be one of my last episodes from Costa Rica. I will be heading back to the U.S. soon into much colder climes, like about 80 degrees colder by comparison. I'm sweating like crazy here, but I'm trying to drink it all in because, man, it is cold back home and up north. But anyway, so here we are talking about Celebration Chicago today. We are 33 days out, and there have been a bunch more guest announcements as well as a major programming announcement as well. So we're going to talk about those and what it might mean for other programming announcements. We'll start off with the guests that have been announced recently, including Ahmed Best. Jar Jar Binks himself is coming back to Celebration Chicago, and that, of course, suggests he's going to be on the Phantom Menace panel on Monday the 15th that's happening. Erin Kellyman is also going to be there. She is Enfys Nest from Solo: A Star Wars Story, and she's not the only person from Solo who's been announced. Paul Bettany is also going to be coming. That would be Dryden Voss, of course. And additionally, we've got Bodhi Rook himself, Riz Ahmed, coming from Rogue One. And we've also got Hermione Corfield, I keep wanting to add an N in there. Hermione Corfield, who played Tally Lindstrom from The Last Jedi, probably the character that I was most unhappy to see killed, aside from, of course, Luke, because, that seemed like a character who could have held her own with Poe Dameron as far as being a hotshot pilot goes. So that was a bit of a bummer to have her in one and gone. But yeah, anyway, we'll get to see her at Celebration as well. But the big programming announcement, and they're coming in fits and starts. I think we've gotten more guest announcements than we've gotten programming announcements. But the animation panels have been announced, and there are going to be 3 of them. And the way that they're laying them out is kind of interesting. So they are doing a Rebels panel, surprisingly, on the 13th, which is the Saturday. They're doing a Clone Wars panel on Sunday the 14th, which is less surprising. And the Resistance panel is going to be on Monday the 15th. So for a start, I'm thrilled that there's going to be a Rebels panel. And of course, it makes everybody wonder, well, what is that all about? Because, they didn't do a Clone Wars panel after Clone Wars was done. So what we have heard of is that there's not going to be any sort of major animation announcement or anything like that. So it's not as though we're suddenly going to get a sequel to Rebels per se. We're just going to get, a Rebels panel. And so far, Taylor Gray and Tia Sakar have been announced for that panel. We know that, I believe, Vanessa Marshall is going to be there, and Freddie Prinze Jr. is also going to be there. Yeah, they've both been announced, but they've not been announced as being part of this panel. But you kind of have to figure that they would show up somehow, I would think, unless their schedules somehow prevent them from doing it. And we are still waiting to hear whether Steve Blum, who plays Zeb on the show, is going to show up. As far as the Clone Wars panel, it's just been announced as Dave Filoni and special guests, quote-unquote. But we already know for a fact that Matt Lanter, who plays Anakin, and Ashley Eckstein, who plays Ahsoka Tano, and Kat Tabor, who plays Padme, and James Arnold Taylor, who does the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and D. Bradley Baker, who does the voice of various clones. We know that all 5 of those folks are going to be at Celebration. Oh, and Tom Kane, who does the voice of Yoda. So all those folks are going to be at Celebration Chicago, so I would be shocked if they don't show up on that panel. And as far as Resistance goes, most everybody who is anybody in Resistance has been announced as appearing at Celebration Chicago. I think Josh Bremer is the only person who plays Niku, the Nikto, has not been announced yet. So everybody is going to be there for that one as well. It's interesting that they're doing Resistance on the same day that they're doing the Star Wars The Phantom Menace 20th Anniversary panel. And based on the stage announcements, they're going to be doing Resistance on the Galaxy stage, not on the Celebration stage. So it seems like the Phantom Menace panel is the one that's taking precedence for Monday's slate of programming, whereas the panel for the Clone Wars is happening on the Celebration stage, on the big main stage. So that's going to be the major event for Sunday the 14th. And the Galaxy stage is also going to be the one hosting the Rebels panel on Saturday the 13th, which suggests that there is another big announcement that's going to be happening for the 13th, and you would think that that would probably be live action series stuff, in particular The Mandalorian. So that's what I would guess is probably going to be dropping in there. And of course, you know, Friday is going to be all about episode 9. It has to be, right? And that is just about everything that there is to announce from Celebration Chicago. There is one other thing I will mention to you as well, but before I do that, of course, we're going to talk about subscribing to the show if you're not already. I hope you'll consider doing that, whether you like it on audio or video. Hopefully you will subscribe to make sure that you have this delivered to you whenever it comes out, which is, of course, every day. And because of the fact that it's every day, regardless of whether I'm in the studio in New Hampshire or sitting under a thing in Costa Rica, it's coming to you every single day, and I hope you will support my efforts to bring you this daily dose of Star Wars joy by supporting me at patreon.com/SW7X7. So as far as tickets to Celebration Chicago go, I had somebody ask me whether you could buy tickets at the door for Celebration Chicago, and the answer is yes, you can. However, my concern for anyone who doesn't yet have tickets to Celebration Chicago is that they may be sold out before you ever get there in the first place. Right now, Monday tickets are the only ones that are left available. So if you want to check out Celebration Chicago and you think that there's a chance that you might go even just for the Monday, well, then you should probably jump on those tickets right now while you still can, because yeah, if they're sold out online, I don't think they're going to suddenly say, oh, we have more at the door or anything like that. And Monday ought to be a pretty good day to go. It shouldn't be too crowded as far as that goes. Saturday and Sunday are going to be just nuts. But anyway, so if you are at all on the fence and thinking that you've got time left to get those tickets, well, you might not have very much. So grab them while you still can. And that is going to do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me for it, as always. And may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
This podcast is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox. It is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other related Star Wars items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2019 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.